showcase the progress that they've made in the project related to UDA, including topics such as sediment management, digital transformation, and underwater radiated noise management. These interns are being led by their mentors, including Sridhar, Romit, and Shlok, who will also be leading them today. Besides, we are also delighted to host an esteemed panel of assessors, including Mr. Gopal Krishna Pillai, who is the former Home Secretary of the Government of India, and Ambassador Anup Kumar Mudgal, a former Indian diplomat and a member of Blue Economy Task Force at FICCI. We are also joined by industry experts, including Dr. Anju Gupta, who's a co-founder and president of EVCAM, Mr. Roshan Talera, who's the executive director at Dynamic Logistics, and Ms. Alisha Poonawala, who's the managing partner of APM Consulting. So welcome everybody, and we're happy to have all the assessors and the presenters who have joined us. Now I do have some guidelines that I'd like to discuss. For the interns, please keep two very important things in mind. First is, please introduce yourself at the start of the webinar, whenever it's time for you to present. And the second thing that you must keep in mind is respect the allocated time to keep the session in track. To keep the session on track. And for the audience, we request you to keep your microphones off, muted unless you're invited to speak. And second, please post the relevant questions or feedback respectfully in the chat box, which is available in this application. So I think let's get started with the main event. And first, I'd like to call upon Dr. Commander Arnab Das, who's the founder and director of the Maritime Research Center, to share his views. A little bit profile about Dr. Das. He's a researcher, maritime strategist, and an entrepreneur. He, like I said, is the founder and director of Maritime Research Center, which is working on this unique concept of underwater domain awareness. Dr. Das has served in the Indian Navy for over 2 decades, and he has a master's and PhD from IIT Delhi as a uniformed officer, and undertook several research and development projects during his 7-year tenure at IIT Delhi. So I would like to hand over the mic to Dr. Das to do the welcome remark for all of us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nishtha. Thank you so much, first of all, to our esteemed guest, Gopal Pillai sir, Ambassador Mudgal sir, Dr. Anju Gupta, Mr. Roshan Talera, and Ms. Alisha Poonawala. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us because these young interns, they worked hard and they still have a little more time to really wrap up their project. But whatever ideas we throw at them, they have really put in their best, including our mentors who are also from the best institutes. And they have been with us. Our fellows have been with us for over 3-4 years now, and they have really taken those specific domains to an all new level. And I mean, the most interesting part that I see is most of them are actually techies, as I call them, but they have been now also looking at it in a more broader policy sense. Catherine also has been, I mean, she is head of our research and publication, and Catherine has contributed significantly to the policy side of it. So I'll just quickly share a slide and talk about the UDA framework. I mean, most of you are aware, but today's projects that you're going to see will populate the cubes that you see in this framework. So each of them actually will look at a specific aspect of the UDA, and I'm sure you will appreciate the depth to which these interns have worked, and along with their mentors who have been working in this area for a couple of years. And I'm sure you will appreciate the depth to which they have taken these projects. So I'm not going to take too much time, just to get you a perspective of how they have been working. And the way we do it is, first, whenever an intern joins us, the first task is to do a very detailed literature survey to know what kind of work has happened across the world. And since they come from good institutes, they have good access to literature, and that gives them a sense of what are the gaps, research gaps, which need to be. So it has to be a very, very independent appreciation of what has happened and where are the gaps, and then they move forward. And they all these projects will contribute to the larger UDA framework that we are progressing. So I think I will not take too much time. I will hand it over back to Nishtha to take it forward from there.
Research Center, and we also have a copyright for the UDA framework now. So now getting started with the main flow of today's webinar, we have the first set of interns who are part of the group one, as we call it, for today's webinar. So in the first group of the presentation, we have total of 6 presenters, including the first one that I'm going to call now. So I'd like to call the first presenter, Arkadita Saha, to take over, and please introduce yourself, and you can take over and present.
Hello. So, good evening, everyone. I am Arkadita Shah from IIT Kharagpur, and I am right now I'm working under Sridhar Prabhuraman sir for in a project like neural network for estimation of transmission loss in the Indian Ocean region. So I am joined this company like almost 1 month back, and I have progressed I have progressed in this project quite a bit. So I would like to present my work. Yes. So this is my introduction, and I have given it. And after this, like going ahead, like what is my work I have done till now? Like so, it is like calculating the transmission loss for the sound wave propagation in and the maritime tracking with AIS data. So, like, what is underwater acoustic propagation? So it is a critical for maritime defense communication and navigation, especially in the regions with the Indian Ocean region and have a complex seafloor terrain and strategic importance. And by this, like, we can ensure continuous situational awareness in the underwater environments, which is like essential for like submarine detections, like acoustic surveillance, and like safe navigation source. And after this, like transmission loss, like represents like what is transmission loss actually, what is like I have worked on. Like it represents like how sound energy is lost during propagation. So like accurate transmission loss prediction like enables better sonar range estimation and like underwater communication and submarine detections. And other thing, for this, like I have worked with like AIS data. So it actually enables real time ship trafficking by broadcasting vessel identities, positions, and their related everything, like what is the ID of the ships, and everything is present in that data. So when like we have integrated this with the acoustic transmission loss prediction, and like it allows authorities to estimate underwater acoustic visibility of vessels and sonar plannings, maritime securities operations, and all this. So like moving ahead with this, and like AIS data, like what is AIS data? It is actually like automated identification system, which is actually used for the continuous tracking of vessels locations, speeds, and headings, and all that. And we have like combined this AI's data with the transmission loss estimation, and we can enhance this underwater visibility assessment and like early detection of like stealth vessels and the maritime situational awareness, all this. And moving ahead, like so like what is actually my problem statement is, like what problem statement I have working on. So it is actually like for estimating the transmission loss for for yes, for the estimating the transmission loss, we have like already we have actually a pre-existing models exist, which is a PRAM method, which is actually a parabolic equation based method, which is like very uh, mathematically heavy model. So it takes a lot of time to calculate the transmission loss. Like we want to calculate transmission loss for around like 300 ships, which is present around a single receiver. So it will take quite a lot of time, and it is very computationally heavy. So like with this, maritime surveillance needs like faster acoustic prediction to track and respond in real time, and which actually enables us to think like machine learning solution, which is very fast, and like the accuracy is almost like the our true transmission loss. So we have gone for these machine learning models. So like what is our approach to for this work? So first of all, like we have collected a data set with like transmitter and receiver coordinates, like the latitude longitudes of the transmitter and receiver as well, and like depth, frequency and bathymetry data and all, and like other sound speed profiles also. Like sound speed profile is like what is the speed of the sound beneath under a ship, like at what depth what is the speed of the sound. Like as the depth increases, my speed of the sound also increases with this. So it is we have also worked with this data as well, and like used ground truth transmission loss generated by PRAM method, and like based on this data we have like trained our machine learning model. And this model like includes like various models like artificial neural network, random forest, LSTM, linear regression. So these are like all the machine learning models. So like in this we can we will I will say I will like show the like in the overall with this model, like the artificial neural network like works very well for this based compared to other models that I have used or I have tested. So like going ahead, and like this is the overall like Indian Ocean region for which we have collected our AIS data and all, and based on and based on this data I have worked on my machine learning models and all. So like these are the evaluation results, and like we can see like the LSTM models here actually like performs very poorly in our data set, and it is like as expected, like this data is not very sequential in nature, so it will work very poorly. We can see like artificial neural network it is like has given us very accurate accuracy score like 93%, which is almost good enough for us. And like other and another model like we have also focused on like the random forest model, which performs well than the artificial neural network model, but the thing is it is like very slower for this compared to like artificial neural network model. So we have like gone with the artificial neural network model because it is fast enough, and like it also like produces good accuracy score. We will like want to improve this model with other technologies and all. So like moving ahead, like and this is the like time comparison for the PRAM model with the artificial neural network model. Like the pre-existing model, it actually takes a total time of like 296 seconds, almost like 300 seconds for for calculating a sample of like 3000 samples or 3000 data points. So it is taking almost like 300 seconds, and whereas compared to the ANN model, it is almost taking like 0.36 seconds, which is like which tells us like the neural network is almost 800 times faster than the PRAM model. So it is like very efficient and like prominent idea for implementing this model into our system. Like, and yes, this is the graph which we get from the by comparing the PRAM model with the machine learning model or the ANN model. Like this red line is the accurate prediction of what our transmission loss should be, and these blue lines are like the predicted transmission loss for our machine learning for the for like these are the predicted transmission loss by our the ANN model. So like it almost like works very well for us, but still improvement is also need for this. And like going ahead, like and like w- and why this research matters actually. So like the transmission, propagation or the acoustics is very important in the maritime domain. So it actually needs to like track every vessels and other like maritime environment activities. So with the sound wave propagation, it's like one of the way. I'm not telling like it's the only way, but it's the one of the way. So like it enables like a real-time sonar planning. So like our neural network model can predict the underwater sound transmission loss almost instantly, and allowing naval operators to dynamically plan sonar coverages zones during operations without delays caused by traditional simulation. And like other thing like enhance vessels tracking using AIS integration. I have told earlier, like by integrating AIS data with our transmission loss prediction system, we can evaluate how visible a ship is acoustically. Like other thing also like supports fast and informed naval decision making. Like yes, estimation empowers naval commanders to and centers to responds quickly to potential threats or changes in the maritime environment, and like improving situational awarenesses and operational readiness also. And other thing like scales across ocean regions and frequencies, like we have only worked with the four kind of frequencies ranging from like 100 frequency 100 hertz, 200 hertz, 300 hertz and 400 hertz. So I have worked on these four frequencies for this project. And like what is the future scope for this, and what improvement can be done. Like one improvement I have already told key, we need to like increase our accuracy of our model further. So this is one like one improvement we can done. And other things like we can extend our model for 3D transmission loss mapping, and with like more depth granularity. And other things like integrating directly with the AIS and sonar systems, apply the model to the oceans and frequency band for various frequencies bands. As I have told, I have only used this for four frequencies. And other thing like we can combine with satellite data for autonomous underwater planning systems and all. Yeah, so thank you for this. That's it from my side.
I'd like to call upon Deepak Kumar, who's from IIT Kharagpur, to make his presentation.
Yeah. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Deepak Kumar. I'm currently doing undergraduate. I'm a undergraduate student at IIT Kharagpur. I'm currently doing research internship at Maritime Research Center. So, my topic is dark ship detection and classification using SAR imagery in the Indian Ocean region. So, this is the structure of my presentation. So, moving to the introduction part, basically, maritime domains covers all the different activities in the sea and ocean regions like fishing, trading, resource exploration, and national defense. So, with over like 90% of global trade are used are being uh, are being moving through ocean only. So, like these are being done through the vessel. Vessel is basically a type of watercrafts. These are watercrafts. They are called vessels. So these are being done through the vessels and like transportation and operation at the sea and ocean regions. So vessels are basically uh, integrated with the AI system to get tracked. Basically, AI system is used for the identify the ships, their location, their speeds, and other informations are there as well. So the problem basically with the vessels are AI system. AI system in the vessels can be turned off, and those vessels are called dark vessels. So due to this, the tracking of those vessels is not possible when AI system is turned off. So they do this basically to bypass the laws and get into the unrestricted zones to basically do the smuggling, illegal fishing in the unauthorized zones. So this is mainly the issue in this one problem. So basically, we are looking into the Indian Ocean region. So the main issue is why this is a problem in India. Basically, India has a vast coastline, like around 7,500 kilometers, and like it demands like large scale maritime surveillance. So basically, in India, most ships are very small. They are being used for fishing purpose only, but mainly illegal fishings are done by these ships, and they doesn't have any AI system. Or even if they have AI system, they basically try to turn off them so to get illegal activities. So sorry. Uh, so maritime. So this is the problem in the when AI system is turned off. So there are existing solutions which also has some limitations. Basically, AI's tracking is done. Basically, AIs is used but when they are turned off, tracking doesn't get happen. So the other system they used is coastal surveillance radar. Like it has limitations of like around they can cover around 50-kilometer range from the shore region, but they cannot go into the deep sea region. So there is one more satellite is there which can be used, which is optical satellite. Optical satellite takes high resolution images of Earth, but it is limited by like clouds, weather, and night time. Like it can be detected in these situations. So SAR images are used. SAR images are taken by Sentinel-1 satellites. So these are images which can take images even at the night situation, different weather situation, even if there are clouds are there. But they are very noisy and have flutters and so ships are those small ships are basically uh, get hidden in the noises of the images basically. So traditional method were used for detecting these ships basically from star images, which is called CFAR. So this method is basically used to detect these ships, but small ships still can't be seen from these images. So they basically try to automate this detection part through SAR images using the models. So few of the models has been developed and which are integrated with the SAR images to get the basically get the ships. So, but still, this is the issue in this models is the detection of small ships. So basically, small ships in the Indian region are they are being used vastly for this fishing part. So this is the issue. So objective of this project is basically to develop a model for those ships which doesn't have any AI system, or if even if they have, they turn off their AI. So using the SAR images. So SAR images is basically taken from this satellite Sentinel-1. So like the SAR images which will be fused with the AI's data. So this helps in the getting the information required information of the region where SAR images should be taken. So this integration should be done. So this model basically will help in near real-time maritime surveillance and like in around the Indian region. So data we will be needing here is the AIS data. AIS data has a lot of information like the identity of the ship information, the dimension basically, navigation, where they are heading, where they are located, latitude and longitudes, and the time step, basically the time when they are situated in that position. So these are the data provided by the AIS. And the second thing is SAR images. SAR images is provided by this Sentinel-1, and the model which I'm going to use is using the C-band SAR images. So these C-band SAR images are converted into high-resolution star shape detection images. So these images are specifically pre-processed from this to this to get the shapes. Basically, what you are seeing here, this highlighted brighted part is shapes. So these SAR images is basically processed to get the high-resolution SAR images to get the shapes. So the architecture of model is to basically use the YOLO model. It's a type of model for the detection of those shapes, but we have base YOLO model. But for the detection part, the research paper is I'm following is using a enhanced YOLO model. So the structure is basically mentioned in the paper. So these are the structures basically. The structure formulation is like SRB block, SPD module, and hybrid attention mechanism. So these structures are basically used in this model to get the detection of small ships. So this basically boosts the detection of SAR ships, which are in the SAR images. So for the explanation of model architecture, so these model architecture, basically each of the modules which is constructed inside the architecture of the YOLO model. So the SR module is basically helpful in the improving the feature of the pixelated images. So basically the highlighted images of ships are basically used by this SR module, which improves the richness of the those pixels. So SPD module is there, which is used for the preserving the small targets basically. And HM module is helps in the boosting the signals and the clutter, reduce the clutter noise. And this is the loss function. Loss function is basically targeted to build basically reduce the losses of small boxes. So small boxes are specifically for the small ships. There are large and small ships. Both ships are there in the SAR images, but to reduce the loss function of those small ships, we have used this new loss function. So these modules are basically integrated in this architecture. So this architecture is basically layered with these modules to improve the model architecture of YOLO model. So till now, basically these things are being done. The SAR and AIS images are basically collected, and they are being SAR images are being processed. This processing part is required to get the HR SID images, which will be helpful in my model. The model will be using these HR SID images to get the detection of those small ships. So I've trained on basic YOLO model, which I have mentioned earlier, the enhanced YOLO model for the comparison with the enhanced YOLO model. So this is the basic YOLO model confidence curve. Confidence curve basically telling is how much basically around 38% of the ships are being detected with 90% confidence. So this is what F1 confidence is telling. And this precision recall is telling basically with over 50% of confidence, around 94% of ships are getting detected. So this is a very good result in basic YOLO model. So you can see the validation result. So this is the validation result. These are the annotated ships. These are already fitted in the images. These are annotated ships are basically here, present here, but model tries to detect those ships, annotated ships, with the confidence. So you can see the most of the ships are getting detected with 90%, and few are there with 30% or less percent again. So like the moving to the novelty of the approach, basically this approach is basically targeted to detect the small vessels with over with those vessels which has size less than 20 meters. So those ships doesn't have mostly AI system. So basically, this focused on the non-cooperative ships in Indian coastal region, like most ships doesn't follow the rules and regulations of Indian regulations. So they are basically called as non-cooperative ships. So like we are trying to basically build a foundation between SAR and AI system. So we will be using both the informations to get the small ships in the Indian Ocean region. So for the looking forward part, like what will be going to be done, like to enhance the YOLO model, basic model on high VRAM GPU, so that the performance can happen using that enhanced YOLO model. So pre-processing part of the SR images to HRSID images, which is required for the model, and the automating these processes. Basically, these processes should be automated so that we can get all the things in one group, and which will be integrated with the AI's data, which will help in the getting the information of ships. So concluding this presentation, like small AIs of vessels, these are very serious threat to the Indian, and also for the border security purpose also, like this is a threat. So this approach is basically reliable for detecting those small ships mainly. So this model is basically optimized to get the small ships in the Indian Ocean regions. So this groundwork will be helpful in the surveillance of those ships in the Indian Ocean region. So this is the end of my presentation. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Deepak. Next, we move on to the next presenter. We have Mr. Jay Pinjarkar, who is a research engineer at the Maritime Research Center. Jay, you can take over.
Thank you, Mr. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jay Pinsarkar. I'm working as a research engineer at Maritime Research Center. So today I'm going to present you about the digital transformation in the shipping related noise management. So in contribution for the digital transformation in the shipping related noise management, we have developed shipping related noise estimation tools and its services. So as we are not delivering just one product, we are delivering the platform that is the capacity of real-time monitoring, analysis, and management the underwater challenges. The challenges particularly in the environmental or in the regulatory framework or in the operational challenges. So let's have a quick brief video about the tool.
What if the ocean isn't as silent as it seems? Every day, global shipping fleets generate massive underwater noise, unseen, unheard by us, but deeply disruptive to marine life. This noise pollution affects not just whales and dolphins, it impacts the entire marine ecosystem. But now, we have a way to measure it, manage it, and reduce it with science. Introducing the Shipping Radiated Noise Estimation Tool, or SRN tool, from the Maritime Research Center, Pune, a smart AI-powered platform that turns raw shipping data into actionable underwater noise insights. The SRN tool uses advanced AI models built on published research by MRC to calculate how ship-generated noise spreads underwater, a process called transmission loss. It considers real-world conditions like water depth, temperature, salinity, and seabed structure. This makes the tool accurate, not just visually impressive. The cumulative noise map lets you explore long-term trends. Pick a region and a date range and instantly visualize average underwater noise levels anywhere in the ocean. Live ship data is integrated, so you always know which vessel is contributing what and where. Need a live snapshot? The instantaneous noise map shows real-time noise levels with bathymetric layers that reveal how ocean depth affects noise propagation. Every estimate is backed by AI-driven models built by MRC. No generic guesses, but science-based predictions grounded in years of research. And the applications? They go far beyond just protecting marine mammals. Deploying underwater sensors, SRN helps find low-noise zones for better data. Conducting an environmental impact assessment, SRN gives you the noise exposure data you need. Formulating regulations or standards, SRN shows exactly where noise exceeds acceptable limits. This tool is a backbone for smart, science-based ocean governance. Download custom maps, export datasets, or generate reports. It's all just a few clicks away. Built for the cloud, the SRN tool works from anywhere. You don't need specialized hardware, just a browser. By making underwater noise visible, the SRN tool gives us a chance to act, to plan better, regulate smarter, and protect deeper. All thanks to cutting-edge AI, open research, and the vision of the Maritime Research Center, Pune. The ocean has been quiet for too long. Now it's time to listen.
I think from the video you can get the how diverse the application of the tool is in the marine protection, the marine species protection, and also for the regulatory frameworks. So right now, just discuss the quick concept map of the calculations of the SRN. So basically, the estimation is majorly divided into the two parts. First version is a source level calculation, and another is a transmission loss calculation. There are different models that are used to calculate the what is exactly the uh, ship generating from sound generating from the ships by considering the different parameters in it, like what is the length of the ships, or what is the speed of the ship, and what is the engine parameters are there. And the second one is the transmission loss. So how this generated noise is propagating through the underwater channel. So that's how the transmission loss will be calculated by considering the environmental factors in the underwater also, like what is the what is the sea surface temperature over there, what is the bathymetry of that point, and what is actually the salinity of the water. So all those parameters has been calculated, and after that the acoustic propagation model has been formed. So by combining these two modeling and simulation part, we will get the final noise level thing generated. And for the spatial temporal mapping of this noise calculated noise level, we are using the Uber's H2 indexing systems in the tool right now. So we will discuss some different cases of the result that will validate our calculations, how we are calculating accurately and precisely. So in the first case, I take the low density area, where you can see that how the interpolation, how the calculation of the transmission loss has been prone. You can see that the shape near to this region is contributing more to this particular area, and this is the one shape from the far area. This is contributing in the low spectrum of the noise. The second case, I will take the mediumly dense area where the ships are contributing nearly in the same region, same level, but the interpolation and the interpolation to plot this such an diverse data on the top of is very difficult. So you can see that result is a very interpreting in very more specific manner. Third part is a more very dense area where I think we will consider the for one receiver point we consider 200 kilometers of radius, because so that for the ease calculation there are around 2000 to 3000 ships in the more dense area. So tool has a capability of working in this highly dense area also. Fourth case I take near the coastal regions where the ships are present, but ships are moving in the less speed, and also the sediment absorption factor from the seabed is also rises. So you can see that there are lots of ships, but the calculated results are in the lower spectrum. This tool can be operated in the cross-divide platform. You can easily access through the desktop, mobile, and tablet mode also. You can access the tool from using the URL of srn.uda.solutions. Right now, tool is in a beta phase. We are continuously updating its features right now. Likewise, right now the transmission loss we are calculating using the PRAM, but right now we are also implemented the transmission loss calculation using the neural network part also. We are not just, I already mentioned that we are not just delivering a product, we are giving us a continuous service and the support with it. So we have developed different services. First, these are API services. This API services will be helpful to integrate the SRN in the other applications also, like some applications in the marine spatial planning or in the ESG of the web. You can see that the first estimation of noise of the single ship. So you can for the single ship you need to create a environmental assessment report. The first thing will be very useful, and second and third case for the more specifically on the if you want more focus on the particular area to make the some ESG report of a particular area. So that is also using this second and third option will be there. Uh, Other services are we are ready for the flexible deployment options also, where we can deploy in the cloud-based platform or on-premise if stakeholders want to more secure about his own data. So he can use the on-premises service also, or you can use both hybrid mode on also. Okay, next one is the real-time SRN feed and batch estimation engine. So for the particular area, if user want to continuously get the a report, if you have the own AIS data or shipping tracking data also, so you can just directly upload to the tool and get the result out of it. So I think this completely whole products and services and support will be more helpful in the actual get the benefit in the managing all the shipping related noise frameworks for the environmental assessment and also for the regulatory framework. Thank you.
Next, we will move on to one of the senior dignitaries that we have with us today, Mr. Gopal Krishna Pillai, who is the former Home Secretary, Government of India. So we'd like to call upon Sir to, give his kind remarks and motivate the students who are interning with us. A little bit profile of Mr. G.K. Pillai. He's a graduate from Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, and has served as the Union Home Secretary and concurrently serving as the Secretary of the Department of Justice, Ministry of Law and Justice. From 2009 to 11, he oversaw critical aspects of India's internal security and governance. His leadership expertise, extensive experience, and strategic vision have shaped key policy decisions and driven forward the nation's development agenda as part of his multifaceted contribution to the Indian bureaucracy. So over to you, sir.
Thank you. I must say I am very impressed with the standard of the presentations that have been made. I congratulate all the 4 presenters who have made the presentations. The academic rigor which they have brought in their work is commendable. There's a lot of work in one sense yet to be done. But I just want to say that there's tremendous potential in what all of you are doing. I know that, I don't know whether all of you are aware, but the government has announced a 1 lakh crore RDI fund. It's basically for tech innovators and to scale up R&D. 20,000 crores is possibly the budget for this year. And if final shape is taking place, we expect within a month or so. So funding will start getting available through various agencies. The design is just getting finalized by the government. So I'm hopeful that that will come. Basic research, of course, still needs to be done. I must also congratulate MRC for hosting the interns and taking this forward. You are doing, in one sense, pioneering work. As a former Home Secretary who was involved, after the 2008 the Bombay attacks, 26/11 Bombay attacks, I know we took a lot of steps in terms of the surface elements of, but the underwater domain is, I must say, is one area that really did not come into our focus, or we didn't understand it fully. And that is something which Commander Das and his team at MRC have focused upon. This is going to be important because in the future, we've seen the role that drones have taken place on the underground, over the ground. And we have seen now, I think the underwater drones are going to play an equal role in any possible future conflict, especially underwater. So this is going to be very, very critical. So this work is something which is very important. I think we have, I'm also chairman of a venture capital fund in which Anju Gupta, who is here, and she'll speak later in much greater detail, were able to, sort of provide the seed money for the initial work that many of you may be interested in. And I'm sure that that is one area where you will get a lot of support from Ivy Camps and Anju. I've also, of course, I'm trustee of the IIT Madras Research Park, so I'm aware of what they do and the work that is done there. So that's also another area which can provide the funding for the work in this domain. I'll talk to the persons concerned also to put their attention to this. As a former Commerce Secretary, I deal with the marine industry, the seafood exports. So the seafood exports, their council, etc., they come to me. I'm sure they have Shlok and others. They must have met you must have met them. And they are always interested in, if their productivity can be improved so that it improves their competitiveness for maritime exports, which is runs into billions of dollars. So that is itself a big area on which research is being done. It's another area which I am will bring it to their attention, and it's one sector that can also provide the funding for some of the studies that are of direct relevance to them. I'm glad that you are talking about the underwater domain, and one of the exercises which we're doing on both the transmission loss as on maritime tracking as well as on dark ship detections are very critical areas insofar as security is concerned. And that is one area where I think there is a tremendous amount of opportunities which are coming up. Defense exports are going to be, it is one of on the fast track, and we will find a lot of emphasis on the defense sector in terms of internal security in the underwater domain area, and that is going to be very, very critical. So I'll stop here. I think a lot of presentations are there. Wish you all the best, and definitely I'll be keeping a track of this. I'm sure Anju will also brief the board of IVCAPS on the various presentations that have come, and we'll see what best we can do to help you both financially and otherwise. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Would you like to say something? Okay, all right. So we can continue with the presentations now. So the next two interns who are going to be making the presentation are being mentored by Shlok himself. And the topics of the presentations are related to fisheries and aquaculture itself. So first, I'd like to call Sai Kushal from IIT Kharagpur to make his presentation on the topic fisheries and aquaculture in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Over to you, Kushal.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Just give me a second. First of all, good evening, everyone. Let me introduce myself. Yeah, this is Sai Kushal, a upcoming final year undergrad student in ocean engineering at IIT Kharagpur. Currently a research intern at Maritime Research Center, Pune. Yeah, today I will be presenting our ongoing research work on tuna fisheries in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Let's begin by understanding why these islands matter so much, both ecologically and strategically. Yeah, Andaman and Nicobar, a maritime powerhouse. These islands cover nearly 660,000 kilometers square. That's about 1/3 of India's EEZ. And strategically, they lie close to the Malacca Strait, one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. And they are also biologically rich with 4,500 plus marine species, 220 endemic and stunning coral ecosystems with over 1,000 coral species. And here, as you see, as in left side, this is the EEZ map with a Andaman and Nicobar highlighted. And on the right side, it is a strategic choke point location of the Andaman and Nicobar. So the region is not just strategically vital; it's an ecologically treasure trove. Let's now understand its economic lifeline. Fisheries, the beating heart of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Fisheries are the backbone of life in Andaman and Nicobar, both for sustenance and livelihood. It catches volume rose dramatically from 44 tons in 1950 to 3,850 tons by 1982. It will showing how quickly marine harvesting evolved. And the region holds 1434 fish species with over 400 commercially viable. And more importantly, the total fish stock is nearly 240,000 tons. It's about 6.2% of the India's marine fishery resources. And in that, tuna alone contributes 60,000 tons, but we only tap about 4,420 tons. That's barely 7% of the potential. This as you see in the left side, this is the annual marine fish catch in 1950 to 1982 and the distribution of capture methods. And as you see in the right side, this is a tuna catch utilization in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. This large gap between the potential and actual catch is where new strategics can truly make a difference. Yeah, that's why the riding the waves of blue economy transformation curves. To bridge this gap, the government launched as major initiatives like PMMSY, the Blue Economy Mission, and the Tuna Cluster Project. And the innovations in sea cage farming, hatcheries, and seaweed cultivations are now scaling up. And the ONGC and oil have begun exploratory drilling in the Andaman Sea, especially at sites like Vijayapuram 1 well, and due to its similarity with oil-rich Southeast Asian basins. On the digital front, tools like PFZ advisories and the Samudra app are improving real-time decision making for fisheries. And as you see in the left side, the Samudra app, it will provide real-time PFZ advices by invoice. And as you see in the right side, this is the CKS farming setup. But despite all these developments, one major component is still missing. It is detailed spatial data for tuna fishing. That's why this unlocking the tuna bounty. We know that 60,000 tons of the tuna are available, but we only 7% is tapped. Why? Because there is no mapping of how ocean conditions like SST, sea surface temperature, chlorophyll, or salinity impact on the tuna growth or presence. Fishermen are essentially navigating blindly, which leads to fuel wastage or low yield and even ecological risk. Here, what is our solutions we can make? Our solution was a growth model that uses oceanographic parameters to predict tuna productivity in space and time. And now that we have framed the challenge, let me explain how we are building this method. The cracking the tuna growth. We mainly focus on the big three tuna species: bluefin tuna, yellowfin, and the skipjack. We are using a black box model instead of simulating tuna physiology. We map how parameters like temperature, salinity, DO, currents, and the feed availability affect growth rate. And the scientific literature shows that the tuna growth follows a bell-shaped curve, peaking at 28 to 29 degrees Celsius. And as you see in the left side of your screen, the scientific graph, it is showing the bell-shaped curve, the growth rate versus water temperature. And our model is trying to replicate this behavior so we can identify the Goldilocks zones for optimal fishing. With that setup, we have started simulations. Here, how they work, simulating growth. And our current focus is now on the testing model with historical ocean data from Andaman and Nicobar. By calibrating inputs like SST and chlorophyll, we simulate growth behavior and generate spatial productivity maps. There is still work in progress, but we have planned a GUI interface that will allow fisheries managers and researchers to explore results interactively. And as you see at the left side, this is the conceptual flow of the modeling tuna growth from environmental input to spatial insights. And so, what does this mean in terms of real world impact? Let's look at that next. Unlocking the tuna treasure trove. This tool will help fishermen locate high yield zones and reduce fuel costs and avoid overfishing and directly boosting catch and income. It also supports the PMMSY objectives and helps unlocking the remaining 93% of the tuna resource. It's not just about the yield. By enabling smarter harvesting, we also enhance the food security and the coastal resilience. Let's now look at how we plan to take this prototype to platform. The chart in the course ahead. We are refining the model with seasonal current data and monsoonal variations. And by using satellite SST and ocean color data sets, we aim to map the full EEZ and identify hidden hotspots. And we are also planning field validation with inquiries to ground truth our predictions. The ultimate goal is GUI platform giving users from fisheries to researchers the power to make the informed, spatially aware decisions. So how does this fit into India's long-term marine strategy? The charting the path forward. This work is a step toward data-driven fisheries governance in the Andaman and Nicobar region. By merging environmental modeling with visual decision tools, we help realize India's blue economy vision. Our approach supports ecosystem-based resource use with benefits for both communities and conservation. Before I close, I would like to quickly reflect on how this work is different from the past efforts. that's why this comes from the gaps to game changer and the advancing UDA through smart fisheries. In the past, tuna management lacked spatial mapping. PFZ advisory were used, but without specific environmental models. Our work brings in the parametric environmental modeling, a black box model approach, and a GIS interface. It is designed to integrate with national platforms like UDA. We also plan a field validation and cross-agency collaboration, which has not been attempted at this scale before. Yeah, that's why we believe this can be a game changer for sustainable tuna fishing and ocean governance. And thank you for giving me the opportunity. Sincerely thank you, and Marcit.
Next, we have the last presentation from Group 1, wherein Thumalapeli Jeevan Kumar from IIT Kharagpur is going to make a presentation on the topic potential fishing zones. Over to you, Jeevan.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Thumalapeli Jeevan Kumar. I'm a research intern at Maritime Research Center and I'm from IIT Kharagpur. I'm currently working on potential fishing zones. Let's go into the introduction of this topic. First, let's discuss about history and challenges in fishing. As we know, fishing is an ancient practice. Fishing has been a vital livelihood for coastal communities for thousands of years. Fishing is not just an industry; it's a way of life for millions, especially in developing coastal nations. And over 90% of world fisheries are small scale, and they use traditional boats, nets, and local knowledge. And they often lack access to real time data and advanced technology. Let's discuss about the challenges in fishing. One of the main global threat in fishing is IUU fishing, which is illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. It causes resource depletion and also undermines local economics and sustainable fishing efforts. IUU fishing is like a silent predator, it's take away resources that local communities depend on. And another challenge is climate change impact. Rising sea surface temperatures shift fish habitats, and also ocean acidification and extreme events reduce marine productivity. Okay, to all these issues highlight the importance of innovation to data-driven tools like PFZ advisories. So that's why we are going to do this project. Uh, let's look into the problem statement. This mainly focus on need for sustainable fishing. The main three stakeholders are people, economy, and nature. People in this case are fishermen. They rely on fishing as their primary livelihood, and they often lack timely information on productive fishing zones. And these PFZ advice can help them reduce effort and increase catch, ensuring better income safety. And coming to the next stakeholder, it is economy. According to the data, India exports around 63,000 plus crore worth of seafood annually. But incorporating this efficient fishing can bring us high exports and also boost GDP and also create jobs. And these PFZ reduce cost per catch and also enhance economic returns. And the next stakeholder is nature. Overfishing in some low catch zones leads to habitat destruction and also ecological imbalance. And these PFZs can help targeting high density zones and enable eco-friendly practices. And these three stakeholders, fishermen, government, and nature, are interlinked stakeholders. Our solution will integrate all these stakeholders for a sustainable future in fishing. Coming to the development process of our project, this involves 4 stages. One is ideation. In this ideation, we basically define the core challenge of making fishing more sustainable across people, economy, and nature. And the main idea is to focus on identifying high yield fishing patches that can readily communicate to end users like fishermen. And the next stage is literature review. We thoroughly go through the research paper, existing scientific work, and understand environmental parameters like sea surface temperature, chlorophyll, and sea surface height, and identify the gaps present. And also we model a framework to predict fish stock potential in specific ocean patches using real-time data. After developing a model, we will simulate and validate this model through a data simulations, which results are compared with real world patterns, and patches are classified based on prediction yields. And after validating, we go on deploying and also take feedback from the end users like fishermen. And coming to the parameters, while after reviewing some existing research papers, we concluded some important parameters for PFZ prediction. Some of the main parameters are: one is sea surface temperature. It basically indicates thermal vents and upwelling zones where fish aggregate. And the most of the papers identified that SST gradients, like fish prefer SST gradients around 0.3 to 0.5 degrees Celsius. And the next important parameter is chlorophyll concentration. It will act as a proxy for phytoplankton, which is considered as a food for fish. And this fish density is higher in areas with 0.3 to 1 mg per meter cube chlorophyll concentration. And the next important parameter is sea surface height. It detects mesoscale sediments, which are nutrient rich and attract fish, and this is useful in cloudy regions due to microwave penetration. And important parameters are ocean currents. Ocean currents drive it will drive nutrient transport and fish movements. And also sea surface salinity and wind speed also important parameters. And coming to some let's discuss some existing models on this PFZ identification. Some of them are like empirical models, like it detects PFZ by identifying some parameters like sea surface temperature and chlorophyll fronts and eddies. It considers some parameters and analyze on these parameters only. They basically relies on satellite imaginary plus simple threshold data. And these are the things empirical methods will do. And coming to statistical models, they build like qualitative relationship between ocean parameters and fish abundance. Examples of these statistical models are multiple linear regression, and generalized adaptive models. Here we can see the graph of a multiple linear regression model, which is plotted observed catch versus predicted catch. And going to the machine learning and deep learning models, basically machine learning and deep learning models are computational systems that takes environmental parameters like sea surface temperature, chlorophyll, and they take parameters as input and output predictions of PFZ locations. And building such models require large and high quality data linking ocean conditions to observed fish catch. And this data is the foundation for training machine learning algorithms. And some of the algorithms in this are one is support vector machines. It basically classifies PFZ zones using parameters. It preference the parameter which influence the PFZ more, and it will give more priority to that parameter. And another one is decision trees and random forest. It is effective in multi-parametric PFZ modeling. And also it is important for feature selection with high interpretability. And we can see in this table the comparison between these three models with taking different environmental parameters. And we saw there is a variation in accuracy values. And next important models were artificial neural networks and CNN LSTMs. Like these, as I said, like these requires a huge data which is not feasible in many times. And next, going to our model, our approach basically link chlorophyll to fish biomass. We use chlorophyll as a biomass proxy. And chlorophyll is used as a proxy for phytoplankton. And phytoplankton, as I said, it is considered as a food for fish, so it implies high chlorophyll is equal to high food availability. And the next step is linking this to fish biomass. And we have observed many studies correlated between this phytoplankton and fish weight. We will estimate this fish yield from this biomass transfer patterns using those correlations. And we will model our PFZ and also predict the yield also. Like we will predict both PFZ locations and fish quality from this model. And this is a novel approach because most of the PFZ models focus only on spatial predictions, like whether the zone is a PFZ or not. They only focus on spatial prediction. But our models adds a qualitative estimation of fish yield also, like which is vital for planning and sustainability. And it also give high fish value for fishermen, scientists, and any policy makers also. And as I said, like traditional models depend heavily on ground truth sampling, which is resource intensive and often limited in spatial or temporal coverage. But our approach uses controlled experimental setup, leveraging correlations between parameters like we are linking chlorophyll to biomass to predict fish availability without extensive field sampling. And this ensures reasonable accuracy while reducing dependency on costly and logistic challenging surfaces. And the next thing is objective of PFZ frameworks. Basically, as I said, we are building PFZ, we are modeling PFZ, and also we build a web-based advisory which creates an interactive online tool providing real-time PFZ maps and estimate fish yield and a region-specific forecast, which empowers fishermen with data-driven decisions. And also, it is helpful for better governance. It equips government agencies and coast guards with PFZ data to combat IUU fishing. We can reduce IUU fishing also by using this model. And it also enables policymakers to craft informed fisheries policies and monitor sustainable catch practices. And it also increases livelihood securities. It improves fisheries income by reducing search time, fuel cost, and uncertainties, leading to more sustainable and resilient coastal communities. Sustainable. It also used for sustainable marine resource management, which reduce habitat damage by guiding fishing efforts towards high yield areas. And coming to our future works, as of now we didn't model completely, so we will incorporate all the planned environmental parameters into our PFZ models. And after developing our model, we compare our model outputs with real-time data from INCOIS to verify our predictions. And after that, we will evaluate our prediction accuracy and refine algorithms for improved reliability. And after all these increasing accuracy, we will integrate this in integrate and like develop and deploy a web-based GUI for ease access and used by stakeholders. By this can be used for used by end users like fishermen. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeevan. So with this, we've completed the presentations made by Group 1. And the Group 1 was mostly mentored by Shlok and Sridhar. Sridhar could not join us today. So moving on, we'll have the presentations by Group 2 now. Group 2 is being led by Romit Kavre, who is a research fellow at MRC, and he's going to be making a presentation on sediment management in the tropical waters of the Indo-Pacific. And Romit is leading 4 presentations after him, and we'll talk about it when his presentation ends. Over to you, Romit.
So good evening, everyone. I'm Romit Kavre, a research fellow at MRC, and I've been working on the sediment management in the tropical waters, like the total domain in over around, it's more than 2 years now. So what I'll go start with what is sediment management, why are we really conscious about sediment management in the tropical waters, and then what are the specific areas that we are currently working on based on technology or the policy part. So when we talk about sediments, we need to understand what are sediments. So these are nothing but but soil particles like silt or sand, which are getting transported through the action of water, either through the freshwater systems or through the oceanic currents. Now, one might think that these only has implications on the morphology of the water bodies, but in fact, it also has effects on the surrounding coastal communities, on the marine flora and fauna, on the water quality. So the effects are wide-ranging. As we said, it has vast-ranging impacts on the people, economy, and nature. Hence, what we require is a holistic information of the local sediment dynamics. What are the processes that lead to such depositional patterns? So here, the sediment management entails 2 major parts. One is the sediment transport patterns, which talks about what are the various the sediment deposition rates, sediment erosion rates, and then we have sediment classification. That is, once the sediment has deposited, how are we classifying the type of sediment, engineering properties, or the biochemical properties of sediment? That has various applications in the offshore construction domain, in the amphibious operations, and all. So one of the main thing for necessitating an integrated sediment management is the rapid urbanization. Now with the unplanned expansion, especially encroachment of floodplains, we see that with monsoon, our cities get flooded. You have seen of reports that there are illegal encroachment of floodplains which alter the natural flow of rivers. Then when we talk about the Indian Ocean region, the Indian Ocean region is in fact very less studies. It has a lot of knowledge gaps when we talk about the bathymetric data, the marine ecosystem or the benthic life, or basically how the various anthropogenic activities are really affecting the various the sediment flow, the climatic conditions, and the flora and fauna. And finally, the tropical conditions of the Indian Ocean region, they are very unique. It has very high climatic variations, very high temperature. We have intense monsoonal system, and the overall socio-economics of the nations of the Indian Ocean region, they are very much unique as we compare it to other water bodies. Also, you can see in this figure, which is taken satellite imagery of the Gulf of Khambat, you can see that within a particular span of months that you can call it as the pre or the post monsoon period, we can see how the sediment inflow has changed. Now, this would have effect not only on the coastal communities that are living there, but also on the marine life and any economic activities that are associated with the oceans itself, or the operations of ports or any other rivers that are located there. Now, when we specifically talk about the tropical conditions, again, it has one of the compared to other oceans, it has the highest temperature, highest sea surface temperature, and with the rise in the global warming, the temperature is rapidly increasing. The tropics are very they are hotspots of biodiversity, especially when we talk about the coral reefs. We always listen that there is the bleaching of coral reefs, climate change is affecting these species distribution, and then with the Indian Ocean region being a very important shipping lane for the routes of oil and gas, polymetallic nodules are another crucial thing which are found in the Central Indian Ocean basin. So all of these lead to very unique conditions in the tropical region, which needs to be studied when we have to actually look into the nuances of the sediment dynamics. Now, in order to monitor the sediments or the sediment erosion rates, the conventional way is to have proper sediment sampling. But again, it is limited in space, and again, it's very expensive to have a lot of data points. So what we have new technologies like we have optical imaging. The use of acoustic sensors have widely been used. Now, these can be mounted over the remotely operated vehicles or the AUVs, which are autonomous underwater vehicles, so that we could have a large spatial and temporal coverage of the bathymetry or whatever kind of parameters that we are trying to map. And then we have various computer modeling and simulation tools which have been developed, especially when we talk about the sediment transport modeling. Now, these can have a large scale modeling of sediments. For this, now the sensors are required. Now, most of these sensors have been imported from the Western nations because they have developed their capability of actually manufacturing these sensors. We, especially the global south and India, have to import these sensors. We have to spend a foreign exchange. Also, these equipment have limited applicability in the tropical conditions itself. Like their overall efficiency reduces to around 60 to 70%. Thus, we require a 2C to understand a 2C kind of model, where in the 2C we have this development of the equipment, the hardware that is catered to our own conditions. We have the to understand part where we develop the analysis capabilities or the data processing capabilities to filter out the noise which is coming from the various either the biological noise or the shipping noise. And then finally, how are we going to share this data with the various stakeholders? Some of this might be strategic data sensitive to our own defense needs. So what kind of data needs to be shared? What is the resolution? All of this should be understood. So now coming to the various applications, we have the seabed mapping. As you can see, the Indian Ocean region, it has very rugged terrain. So now this has implications on the undersea cables. How do we plan the routes of these undersea cables? Again, when we talk about the polymetallic nodules, how do we extract them? We need to properly assess even for the equipment that are going to extract these nodules. We need to have an understanding of the seabed bathymetry, and then any kind of rescue and recovery also requires this understanding of bathymetry. This we are actively pursuing of how can we actually have this bathymetric mapping using remote sensing and acoustic sensors. Then, when we talk about the sediment flow through the freshwater systems, again, we could have various models which are physics-based models, which include input data like flow conditions, that is the flow velocity, the sediment properties, again, the sediment classification, and extensive field experiments would be very much crucial in the development of such models, where, again, there is a lack of proper experiments for a large-scale data availability. And that's why we are also advocating for more experiments, for pilot projects that can prove how the acoustics can be able to help. Again, remote sensing, that is the satellite based sediment mapping. We are, again, that is one of the most active things that we are working on. As you can see, this is the Ganga Brahmaputra delta. Within a span of the monsoon season, a lot of sediment influx is there. Now the satellite helps us to have a large spatial and temporal variation. We can have data which spans across years, and then we can apply machine learning algorithms, or there are already existing models that can, through image processing, we can estimate the bed load and the suspended load. And then one of the unique features is the biofouling. The warm temperatures and the high biodiversity, along with the various nutrient contents, leads to a bioaccumulation. So there might be some invasive species that might develop, and that attaches to the hulls of the ships. Now this affects their operational efficiency and also adds to the weight, and again it has a lot of implications over their working. We are working on the acoustic anti-fouling techniques, which would provide a viable alternative to the non-toxic alternative to the various paints that have been developed, especially in the tropical conditions. Now, all of this technology needs to be properly adjusted with the policy goals as well, because again, the maritime domain has a lot of authorities. We have the inquest, the maritime boards, the navy, the coast guard, but so there is a fragmented jurisdiction. So how are we really going to have this interplay between the various agencies to have proper integrated response? The policy needs to be really looked into. So here, what we are trying to vouch for is to have more acoustic surveys, so that we could have a larger database of sediment data, their chemical properties, engineering properties, that can be helpful for for dredging or for reusing. Policy initiatives via various pilot projects. We had the Khadek-Vasla sediment classification in the Khadek-Vasla region, and then here the UDA will help us in having the user academy and industry partnership, so that we could have capacity and capability building within our workforce. And so I'll end up showing this integrated sediment management plan, which should entail the freshwater and the coastal regions with national and regional strategies, bringing in the associated risk and the local information from the various stakeholders. So I think I'll end the discussion here.
Thank you so much, Romit, for your illustrious presentation. And so yes, that was Romit, who is a research fellow at MRC, and he's been working and progressing the work related to sediment management at MRC since past over 2 years now. And so he does have a group of interns that he's mentoring right now. And the first one is going to make the presentation next. We have Suchir Mamidala, who's from IIT Madras, and he's going to make a presentation on digital mapping of the fouling in the tropical waters. So, Suchir, if you can come forward and make your presentation now.
So, good evening, everyone. I am Suchir Mamidala, a student at IIT Madras, currently working as a summer intern at Maritime Research Center, Pune. So today I'll be talking about an increasingly important topic, which is on digitalizing the process of marine biofouling with a focus specific to the tropical environments. So what is biofouling? Biofouling refers to the unwanted buildup of organisms like bacteria, algae, barnacles on the submerged surfaces such as ship hulls, pipelines, sensors, or offshore rigs. It starts with microfouling, where microorganisms form biofilms, and evolves into macrofouling, where larger organisms like barnacles and mussels take over. This buildup increases friction and drag, especially on ships, leading to higher fuel consumption, greenhouse gas emission, corrosion, and even sensor inaccuracies. Several interacting parameters control how, where, and how fast this fouling occurs. First, temperature and nutrients drive the organism growth. Salinity influences which species thrive. Some prefer seawater and others prefer brackish or estuarine zones. Then we have the hydrodynamic conditions. The fast-flowing water may prevent settlement, while stagnant areas like the propeller region promote it. The surface itself matters. Rougher or degraded coatings allow easier addition. Even water pH and the oxygen levels influence microbial activity and species composition. So the tropical region between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn is highly prone to biofouling due to the warm waters and nutrient-rich coasts, which accelerate organism growth. Fouling rates can be 2 to 3 times higher than in the temperate zones, with Indian ports reporting up to 19 kilograms of 19 kg per meter square of biomass. For vessels, this can mean 40% more fuel consumption and a 72% higher CO2 emissions, making tropical biofouling a critical issue for cost and sustainability. Traditional fouling management techniques is very reactive, so waiting for buildup and then trying to clean them, leading to high costs, delays, and damage. Manual inspections are slow, inconsistent, and often impractical. Digitalizing the process with real-time sensors, machine learning, and remote imaging enables predictive maintenance, detecting fouling early, optimizing cleaning, and avoiding performance losses. In tropical waters, where fouling is faster and more intense, real-time systems can cut fuel costs, lower emissions, and reduce harmful chemical use. In essence, digitalization makes fouling a manageable, data-driven challenge. So the current literature on the fouling simulation mainly includes two types of categories. One is the physics-based CFD, computational fluid dynamic models, and the other one is the data-driven AI models. So the existing CFD models simulate how biofouling develops in different marine applications, from heat exchangers to tidal turbines. They account for parameters like wall shear stress and turbulence. However, most of these models are validated in the temperate or industrial settings and are not very well adapted to the tropical conditions. On the AI side, models like the CFD-ANN hybrid or the Sundar's deep learning framework have shown impressive predictive accuracy. But again, these models lack real-world data from tropical marine zones. The LSTM, long short-term memory models, show promise for time-based predictions, but are yet to be deployed in high biodiversity coastal areas. The field studies provide vital biological insights alongside modeling. The PVC settlement plates and environmental DNA, also called as eDNA, sampling have been used to detect invasive species in tropical waters. Deep learning has also shown promise, classifying biofouling severity in 10,000 plus images with 90% expert agreement. However, these studies often lack tropical representation or sufficient resolution, underscoring the need to integrate them with modeling tools to build robust predictive platforms, especially for tropical digital twins. Creating a spatiotemporal map of tropical biofouling faces key challenges. First, data scarcity is a major hurdle. Unlike Europe, tropical regions lack dense continuous monitoring. Fouling occurs year-round, yet tools like eDNA and settlement plates are not widely deployed. Second is the ecological complexity is very high. Diverse species like coral-associated organisms and shipworms respond to local stressors such as runoff and microplastics. Interspecies dynamics vary with factors like wave exposure, which are rarely tracked. Lastly, the technological barriers still remain. Sensors struggle in turbid waters, and scaling them for CFD or ML models to basin levels is often computationally unfeasible. These gaps highlight the need for tropical specific digital infrastructure and approaches. So in this phase of the digitalization project, I'm currently trying to adapt a temperate zone CFD model for using in the tropical regions in the Indian subcontinent, where factors like biodiversity, water temperature, and fouling rates differ significantly. The Kochi coast is chosen as the pilot location due to continuous monitoring by the Indian National Center for Ocean Information Services and also the support from nearby regional marine institutes like CMFRI, which is the Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute, enabling robust data collection and validation. The aim is to retrain and recalibrate the existing model using regional data to accurately simulate tropical fouling dynamics. The way forward and the future prospects in tropical biofouling simulation lie in building integrated, data-driven, and predictive systems. First, we must try to rebuild the data infrastructure. Community-based monitoring through local fishers and divers can enhance coastal data collection. Blockchain can ensure secure and transparent data sharing, while low-cost sensors and AUVs equipped with anti-fouling tech and eDNA samplers can improve tropical data capture. Next, the existing CFD ANN and LSTM models from the temperate regions can be adapted via transfer learning, incorporating tropical specific factors like coral interactions and monsoon dynamics. Field validation will ensure accuracy and robustness. This integrated approach will enable precision biofouling management where it's needed the most. Thank you.
Thank you, Suchir. Next, I'd like to call Angothu Yashwant from IIT Kharagpur. The topic of his presentation is satellite-based sediment load estimation and sediment classification. So over to you, Yashwant, for your presentation.
Okay. Hello, myself Angothu Yashwant from IIT Kharagpur. Presently, I am a research intern at Maritime Research Center. So my topic is satellite-based sediment load estimation and its classification. So basically, just introduction to suspended sediment. So what is a suspended sediment? Suspended sediment is a composition of clay, slate, and fine sand, and with organic matters attached to it, and it flows through river, and it generally ranges from 1 micro mm to micrometer to 50 micrometer. Basically, it's very small. So what sediments what impacts on environment? Basically, sediment impacts on water flow, and it's generally on generally manages aquatic ecosystems. Basically, it has some organic matters, so it's manages ecosystems. And next part is that it plays a major role in environment significance. Basically, it transports nutrients throughout the river and reservoirs, and after that, it has a application on economic. Basically, we can manage if we can model the suspended sediments. So if you can model it, we can have a detailed plan on how flooding, and it helps on agriculture planning also. And and another part is we can manage the dam reservoirs, and on we can prevent the dam failure because the overloading of suspended sediments. So next part is it. So how to monitor the sediment particles? So basically there are a few techniques. So basically we have some sensors which are developed across the river. So these sensors have different techniques. One is that turbidity sensors. Basically it scatters the lights. It collects some water, and it scatters the lights through it. And after that, after the receiving the data, it's after receiving data, it basically estimates the sediment particle sizes and its like concentration in concentration. And next is the laser diffraction. It's also same. It basically emits the laser light and estimates the sediment particles. So next is the pressure difference sensor. So it measures through basically in ranges of pressures over the river. And next is the acoustic backscattering. Basically, it sends the sounds pulses over the river and measures the echo strength of reflected sound. So through all these techniques, we can measure the sediment concentration. After that, how can we model? How can we model? How can we estimate the suspended sediment across the river? So few studies have that the suspended sediment estimation, and the methods can have in three methods. Basically, first is that sediment rating curves. So sediment rating curves is basically a theoretical aspect. Basically, it measures its models on graphs. Basically, it calculates the suspended sediment concentration through the discharge stream. So water discharge concentration. So basically, it's drawing the graph of sediment through the water discharge. So basically, it has inaccurate during high flows, requires and long-term discharge and sediment data. So next is that machine learning models. If we have the more data, we can go through the machine learning models. And so next part is that physical we can measure physically by applying different sensors over across the river or reservoir. So we can get through this data and model through it. So we have here we have the graph showcasing the complexity and spatial coverages of different models. And here's the pie chart. So it just shows which models we are using mostly throughout the globe. So basically, machine learning models we are using mostly. So after it, so and my focus is on satellite based estimation. So mainly I want to first I want to give the benefits of why satellite based is more like beneficial to us. First is the benefit is spatial coverage area. It has a large spatial coverage area, and we can get the frequent monitoring data also, and it's basically cost effective. And after that, we can model a data through all these model. We can model through all this data, and by applying machine learning algorithms. So it's basically quite helpful to us. So what are the research has done on this and satellite based data? First is that satellite based data here Yangtze River, it showed nearly 80% of accurate data. So by modeling through some multispectrum images. And next is that in Brazil uh, they have done they have given 25 milligrams of error, basically very small error. So it has done very accurately. And in Ganga River during the pandemic, so they have observed that the turbidity in Ganga River also slowed down. So basically they have observing through satellites. So another model is the soil and water assessment tool. So basically it also helps in observing the sediment over the river. And next is my focus on Brahmaputra River. I am doing on research on Brahmaputra River now. So key factors impacts sediment management and infrastructures. So basically in Brahmaputra or in Assam, we can say, we can have they have frequent flooding and erosion. So next is the high dynamic morphology, or and basically we can't predict how weather changes, how the landslides, erosions happens. So basically in there is more or less. And next is the sediment transportation. So sediment transport, nearly 400 million tons of sediments transport to the ocean. So basically it's large of sediment. So due to the bank erosion and all that. So I want to model it, model. Uh, so and next is that. So how satellite helps to accurately analyze this and prevent disasters also. First is that early warning and planning also. So next to dam and project management, we can have a detail analysis, and we can construct a dams basically to have lower failures, and channel change monitoring and regional scalability. So we can have that. So my project workflow is, first starting through is initiate acquire the data acquisition and of the satellite data, and after the acquisition we have to process it. So on processing, what you have to do is atmospheric correction, filtering, and conversion of radiance and reflectance. So after that we have to estimate suspended sediment concentration. So and after estimating, we have to compare with the in situ data which we can get through the sensors. And next is that we have to map over the space and time. Basically, we are over the large area and over the time, nearly across years. And by getting this data, we can predict the future disasters. So after it, we can modeling and visualize. So how it's going to be next few years, and that. And this is just a flow chart how after getting the satellite data and in situ data, so we can go through. This is a basic structure of how I am going to do the work. So in conclusion part, what I have presented is basically measuring the suspended sediment concentration. So various methods I have presented, and next is that comparison of sediment rating curves and machine learning and physical numerical models. So that is, and advantages of satellite based estimation. So after that, development of the satellite based suspended estimation of Brahmaputra river. I have I have showed, and thank you.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Yashwant. We next have Aryan Anil Power from IIT Bombay, who's going to be making a presentation on safeguarding undersea cables for India's strategic security. So over to you.
Hello and a very good evening to everyone. I am Aryan Pawar. I am currently an upcoming fourth year undergraduate student at IIT Bombay and pursuing UDA Summer Internship at Maritime Research Center, Pune. So, the project I am pursuing is safeguarding India's digital lifelines, which are submarine cables for India's strategic security. So, let's dive in. Firstly, the motivation for choosing this topic is that currently submarine cables carry 97% of global internet traffic, and hence they are backbone for our finance, defense, and digital economy. Which is quite contrary to popular belief that satellites carry more, but they carry less than 3%, all majorly about cables. In our day-to-day lives, these submarine cables, submarine fiber optic cables, They are invisible, but yet they are critically vulnerable. So the main goals of my work are that I studied the technical and strategic vulnerabilities to these submarine cables. Then I mapped past threats like human accidents or sabotage to these submarine cables. Then I visualize the global capabilities of various countries, like which countries have capability to cut, repair, or lay submarine cables. And then I will be connecting this to India's gaps and potential using the UDA framework. So methods that I have used of various documentation by TRAI, ICPC, and MRC. Then I have used a open source GIS mapping tool, which is QGIS. Then research note writing, and then I will be working on the strategic framework design. Hence, I will be combining engineering mapping with strategic policy research. So this is my work. So a key milestone that I completed is of a research note. So here, this image represents how a submarine fiber optic cable is laid down from its cable station on one side of a country uh, uh, to the terminal on another country, and how it is connected to our terrestrial network and how the internet data reaches us. So this is the cable landing station from which the cable starts, and these are the various units which are present along the cable, and it finally reaches our terminal. This image is from a TRAI document. Uh, then this image represents various ways to attack submarine cables, like through submersibles or ROVs, or sometimes due to human damage, like dragged anchors of ships. And some key findings that I found out are that India currently lacks indigenous cable laying or repair ships, and there's currently no dedicated cable security policy. And some global players like USA, China, Russia, they weaponize cable control. And we currently treat these submarine cables like telecom and not infrastructure. But the submarine cables are a quite infrastructure, and we must change our mindset as well. So the next thing that I have done is visualizing global threats using QGIS. I have mapped some past incidents which are on the next page. Some notable examples include these incidents which occurred. So these two were due to human accidents where anchors dragged anchors of ships dragged through the seabed and cutting the cables, while these two incidents were due to sabotage. Like in 2023 Taiwan, elite Chinese ship cut down cables of Matsu Islands and they were disconnected from internet for weeks. And a similar incident occurred in 2024 due to suspected Russian sabotage. So I have mapped various such incidents on the next page, which show how severe these incidents are. So this is done using QGIS tool, and the legend here shows what each incident refers to. Like all these blue dots are the ones where accidents have happened due to human errors, like dragging of the ship's anchors or so. The green ones here represent natural disasters which cause submarine cable damage, like cyclones or the whole underwater volcanoes which cause the seabed shifting. Like it's quite common in Mariana, near Mariana Island. And the red ones represent the sabotage or intentional gray zone warfare, like near Taiwan. Yeah. So the next thing that I did is mapping country-wise capability of like which countries have what capabilities related to submarine cables. So these are five countries which have full capability: USA, UK, France, Japan, and China. And this showed me that how geopolitically imbalanced this field actually is of handling such critical infrastructure. So this is the capability mapping, like which shows what is the capability of each country. The code's LRD on the left side represent the repair destruction capability, and its values represent what it is capable of, like yes, no, limited, or possible. So currently, USA, France, United Kingdom, and Japan have full capability, as well as China have full capability, and some other countries are represented as well. Next, I followed up with the tropical marine challenges in cable security. So, like unlike the Atlantic or Pacific, tropical Indian Ocean is harsher environmental stressors. These include high salinity and temperature gradients, like which affect cable insulation. The frequent cyclones increase risk of cable displacement. There's quite seismic activity in Indo-Pacific, like the Sunda Trench near Indonesia, which may cause cable break risks. And there's dense biodiversity in coral reefs, which complicate laying maintenance. And also there's heavy maritime traffic, which can cause anchor drags. So we should keep these in mind. And the images here show some damages to the sea cables, like this here one here being damaged by mobilization of seafloor substrate. This due to a boulder falling on it. So these are quite some challenges in the tropical region, Indian Ocean region. So concluding my analysis, my final insights from the analysis are that there are cable choke points for India, like Mumbai and Chennai. They host most of India's cable landing stations, and India currently depends on foreign vessels for repairs, and response times are long. There is an urgent need for repair authority and cable protection zones. And in the future times, during high risk or conflict, some global actors may weaponize control of cable infrastructure, and hence there's an urgent need for indigenous development in this region as well. So what I plan to do next is a creation of GUI tool to illustrate current submarine cable mapping in a region, the bathymetry conditions, and if we want to plan new submarine cable mapping, so what are the conditions in the region? And then aim to apply UDA as an integrator for merging acoustic, optical, and satellite surveillance and connecting various stakeholders of this critical infrastructure, which include the Navy, DOT, MEITY, and private cable landing station operators. Yeah. Thank you all for your attention. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Aryan, for your presentation. And now we have the last presentation of the evening. We have R. John Finney from IIT Madras, who's going to make a presentation on the topic sediment transport modeling for Ujjain Reservoir.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, R. John Finney. I'm an fourth-year undergrad from the Department of Naval Architecture and Ocean Engineering, IIT Madras. I'm currently an UDA research intern at MRC 2025. My area of research is sediment quantification and classification in the Ujjain Reservoir. This research focuses on the Ujjain Reservoir, which is a multi-purpose reservoir constructed on the Bhima River, which is a tributary of River Krishna. The reservoir is commissioned in the year 1980 to primarily serve irrigation purpose, while it also serves drinking and industrial needs. It is one of the largest reservoir by storage capacity, covering an water spread area of around 350 kilometers square and a total gross capacity of 3,490 million meter cube. There is an estimation taken place. If the full reservoir level, which is 497.33 meters, if it is reduced by 6 meters to 491, the total capacity will be reduced to 1,800 million meter cube, which is nearly half. This is how the impact lies. As stated in the irrigation report by the Irrigation Department of Maharashtra, there has only been one sediment survey conducted till now by MERA in 2001. This highlights the need for updated and accurate sediment assessment, and the reason for only very few sediment surveys is the extensive labor is needed for this and also the time it taken. From this, we can come to a problem statement, which is as the Ujjaini reservoir, which is a multi-purpose reservoir, faces increasing challenges due to sediment accumulations. Its complex geometry, which is long, curved with multiple inflows, makes sediment flow and depositions highly irregular. This research aims to assist sediment impacts on reservoirs' performance using computational models. By understanding and addressing these sedimentations, we can preserve the reservoir's lifespan. This research note mainly has two methodologies. The first one is the quantitative analysis, which includes quantifying the annual sediment rates as well as mapping spatial deposition patterns across and in the reservoir area, while also predicting the future sediment accumulation. The second methodology is the qualitative analysis, which includes classifying these sediment deposits, and after which we'll be conducting on-site verifications through remote sensored underwater autonomous vehicles. And finally, the model evaluation will be taken place. The research has mainly two steps. The first one is a research note, which conducts model assessment on the three models, which are SWAT, Soil and Water Assessment Tool. The second one is HEC RAS 2D sediment model, where the third one is SETSEM model. After the assessment is done, we'll be finalizing a suitable model for the Ujjaini reservoir. After that, the innovation note will take place, which gathers the input data from the existing resources. If there are any unknown data, we'll be conducting surveys to gather the gap data knowledge. After which, we'll run this selected suitable sediment model and the model evaluation. The first model we considered is the SWAT Soil and Water Assessment Tool, which is a physically based loading model which runs on a watershed scale level. It is developed to predict the impact of land management practices on water, sediment, and agricultural productivity. These are the input requirements and output requirements. When we run the model, the output requirements we get are the surface runoffs and base flows, along with nutrient transports and sediment yields. Here is a case study which uses SWAT modeling in the upper Bhima Basin. The case study in this study, it is the SWAT model predicts the sediment yield from rainwater runoffs into the Ujjaini reservoir. Initially, the basin is divided into 27 sub-basins using satellite imagery. The simulation is run over a period of 2 years and 7 months, estimating the sediment range from 1,300 to 8,88,000 tons per year. As you can see in the graphical analysis, between the month of August to September, the sedimentation yield is relatively more compared to other months, which is because the model finds the erosion due to rainwater runoffs. The second model we considered is HEC RAS 2D sediment model, which is a numerically based physics model developed by the US Army to simulate unsteady flows, steady flows, and sediment transports in rivers, channels, and reservoirs. HEC RAS 2D sediment model is just a combination of hydraulic model and the sediment processes using a finite volume approach. The output parameters we get from the model are the sediment concentrations and transport rates, including sediment storage capacity rates and also water surface elevations. This case study showcases a 10-year simulation using HEC RAS 2D model, which is conducted in the Pear Reservoir, Central Lombok. The data needed for this study is gathered on field, which includes bathymetry, sediment samples, and river discharges, showcasing a 13% loss in reservoir capacity. As you can see in the figure, The sediment concentration happened in the low velocity zones, which partially proves the success of the model. The third model is sediment simulation screening model, aka SEDSIM model, which is an Excel-based empirical tool, mainly developed to design a strategical planning for reservoirs. It is simple yet effective way to simulate long-term sediment deposits. The input requirements are the reservoir geometries, the daily flow hydrographs, also the daily sediment inflows. While the output parameters we get are the spatial distribution of sediment layers and volume of sediment deposits. Here is a comparative analysis between the three models. One of the major limitations of the first two, which are SWAT and HECRAS, are the extensive input data requirements, which is high resolution surface elevation data. For SWAT, this limitation can overcome by integrating it with satellite imageries, while as HECRAS is a physics-based model, so it is very flexible. We can customize the boundary conditions. Unlike these both hydraulic and loading models, SEDSIM is an empirically based receiving model, which runs on empirical formulas. So, very accurate input data is needed for a better performance. And this accurate data, input data, limitation can overcome by getting the input data from an hydraulic model such as SWAT and HECRAS itself. By taking everything into consideration, we concluded that the combined use of HECRAS sediment model along with SEDSIM screening model offers the most effective approach for sediment assessment. We are currently in the data collection phase. We are sourcing information from open resources and public databases. Here is an example of an open resource which gives the surface elevation, which is the most important data to run the sediment transport model. By using the elevation API key, we can get the surface elevation of the Ujjini reservoir, as shown in the figure, in the JSON format. After the data gathering phase is done, and if still there is any black data which we need, we will be conducting on-field surveys using remote sensors and AUVs to get the gap data. After which we'll be calibrating the combined model and validating the model with the field samples. Prior to that, we will be developing recommendations for long-term sediment controls and policy integrations. Thank you.
Thank you, John. So with this, we have concluded all the presentations from the two groups that we had today, Group 1 and Group 2. And now we'll move on to the next segment of the webinar today, which is called the comments and feedback session. And we have with us two industry experts, including Mr. Roshan Talera, who's the Executive Director at Dynamic Logistics with us. So I'd like to call upon Mr. Roshan Talera to give his intervention points and the comments that he has for all the presentations that he saw in today's webinar.
Call Dr. Anju Gupta first. I think Roshan has logged out.
Okay, all right. So can we have Dr. Anju Gupta, who's the co-founder and president at EV Camps, to share her keynote address and the intervention and comments that she has to share with the interns. Hello, ma'am.
Hi, thanks. So first of all, I want to say really well done presentations. It's very hard typically to have so many presentations and still stay on time. And I think the presentations were, extremely articulate and very clear. So, to all the people who presented, I think very, very good job. The second thing I would say, this whole kind of marine space and underwater space is something I'm just learning about. And thanks to, Commander Das for kind of, educating me and pointing me in this direction. A couple of immediate things. I think there is from the presentation, that's been very interesting work going on. And I think there are definitely opportunities for funding, for collaboration. For example, a few of these presentations, I definitely see some defense applications. And just interestingly enough, I was speaking to a couple of funds who are looking for, work early stage that has applications in the defense area. And I think underwater is a relatively new area that has not been explored, that they haven't looked into. And in fact, this gentleman who's one of the founders was in the Navy. So I think some of these would be really interesting. So I'm happy to kind of, connect him to a few of these. Second, I would say, a few of the presentations, I think the work going on has some synergies between themselves. Like there are a couple of marine biology ones, there are a couple of related to sedimentation, there are a couple related to the impacts of sedimentation and growth on boats. So I don't know how much work is going on in kind of looking at these synergies, because oftentimes I've seen solutions coming from two different areas actually working together provide like a complete solution. So, Commander Das, I don't know if there's somebody in your team looking at that and saying, okay, these two are synergistic, and to the industry, they may actually provide a complete solution. And the third thing I would mention again, some of these solutions, not only kind of to funds, but also from corporate organizations, these are relevant. So those in the shipping industry, those that are already looking at some of these underwater cables, those have deployed some of these. I think there may be synergies there. So I don't know if you're looking kind of at those, because some of these, as I heard, they're in a stage where a lot of work has been done. Now it's time to take it to the next stage in terms of doing a proof of concept, actually building some success stories, getting data, some real data that you can show. But otherwise, very interesting, very nice to see all this work going on, and, awesome job to everybody who presented. That's it
Thank
for
you
me.
so much, ma'am. Definitely, we are looking at combining multiple efforts, and you can see this is an effort of a couple of years. So things have matured over a period of time because there's a lot of background work that is required. There are a lot of very fundamental computational requirements and fundamental infrastructure requirements. So I think we as an organization have come a long way building it up bit by bit. And we are now in a stage where we can, I mean, as I say always, that we've been working on the back end till now, but now we are ready for the front end in terms of reaching out and kind of discussing with experts like you and others. So thank you very much for your comments, and we'll definitely take this conversation forward with you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Roshan is back, I think. Nishta, you can request.
Right.
Yeah, sorry,
Right.
my battery low. So
Right. So, Mr. Roshan, if you can give your comments and your intervention and, about the presentations that all the students have made today, we'd like to hear from you.
yes, absolutely. The presentations were really wonderful. I think everything, it was very enlightening to hear the students speak about the research that they've done on the noise, on the shipping, the AIS thing, which I'm not very technically savvy, so I wasn't able to understand quite a lot of the terminology, but I understand where they're coming from and the kind of work that they have put in to create this. Commander Das, I would like to understand from you what is it that that we aim to do with these presentations now going forward? Are these to be converted into enterprises or solutions that can be deployed commercially or for the government?
Roshan, it's a mix of both. I mean, as you know, we are a technology-driven policy advocacy group. So, I mean, we want digital transformation to be the mainstay for policy interventions. But of course, many of these projects have significant commercial applications. So they are being pushed for that. So, I mean, as Anju ma'am also mentioned, there is a lot of cross-cutting relevance. So we would definitely see where the synergies are, where they can be seamlessly integrated and build bigger solutions. I mean, the whole concept of UDA is pooling of resources and synergizing of effort. I mean, typically, as you know, the defense research is led by DRDO, and they don't normally kind of interact with others. And for the non-defense, we have CSIR labs which are kind of working. But we find the collaboration is a significant challenge. But we are an organization which is looking at the entire underwater space as a one whole domain, and how multiple. I mean, if you put sensors, why does it have to be limited only for defense application? I mean, whatever data you collect, if you can share it with the other stakeholders, it can make so much more sense. And of
Yeah,
course,
no, and I realize that even the maritime usage, or like even for fisheries, even the presentation on the Ujni Dam and the kind of mapping that needs to be done there, all of this data bank and this knowledge that is generated will definitely come in use and come in handy. And we all know that it's better to be prepared than to wait until the moment that you need this data and then be in a rush to source it. So I think this will lay a strong groundwork and foundational framework for people to come and build on this going further. I definitely sense that.
Thank
Is there
you.
anything else that I should comment on here?
No, I mean, this is also, Roshan, a platform for us to sensitize, I mean, people like you who are deeply connected with the corporate world, and also guide us in terms of connecting us to the right kind of stakeholders. So that's, I mean, this is just one set of presentation. There are two more sets which are going to be done subsequently. So it's definitely an effort to reach out to people like you who have a larger vision in the corporate world, and we would like to kind of associate and find relevance in the corporate vision. So, yeah.
Great. I really enjoyed being part of the meet today and listening into all the presentations. I think it's a great work by all the students, and I hope they continue on this path and be strong proponents of bringing the UDA framework and all of this research and knowledge to our country and to our commerce.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roshan. So now
you.
with this, we're going to move on to the last segment of the webinar, which is about the closing segment, which is the closing segment. So first, I'd like to call upon Ambassador Anup Kumar Mudgal, who's a former Indian diplomat, and he's been a member of the Blue Economy Task Force at FICCI, to come and share his comments. Before he comes in, I'd like to speak a little bit about him, his profile. So he's a former Indian diplomat with over 32 years in the Indian Foreign Services. His areas of expertise include maritime security, blue economy, trade policy, diaspora engagement, and development partnerships. He continues to contribute post-retirement as a member at FICCI's Blue Economy Task Force. And yeah, so I'd hand over to the mic to Ambassador Mudgal for his final closing remarks.
Thank you, Nisha. I would say a big leap forward. And, we have been talking about the underwater domain for how many years now? I think about 3-4 years now, almost. And I'm sure we would recall that we have been struggling to emphasize the importance of underwater in the larger sustainability of the planet. Now, I thought, let me just comment on Roshan's, query. Oceans and their benefits are not really new to us. The humanity is familiar with the benefits of ocean, but more so in a very tangible manner. We have been harnessing oceans for food, energy, transportation, recreation, you name it. But now with the greater understanding of the planetary functions, now we see that while the tangibles are there, but the intangibles are much more important. Be it, the water cycle, be it the carbon cycle, oxygen cycle, climatic stabilization, you name it. The other day when the Secretary General said, let's conserve, that conserves us. Yes, with regard to oceans. Now, the life on the planet, as the other day I mentioned, life on the planet not only originated in ocean, but the ocean has supported the evolution of life on this planet throughout. Without the ocean, the life would not have originated, nor would have evolved, and we would not have existed on the planet. So this is kind of the profoundness of ocean's importance to the society is sometimes not easy for us to understand. It needs a lot of effort. And then we know that the implications or the role of ocean in the preservation of the planet, this is a very complex role. This is in the realms of physical activity, in the chemical activity put together, and then it really impacts a very large phenomena, which then conserves the planet, right? Protects the planet, helps the planet progress, helps in prosperity, helps in production, and all that stuff. And that is why, finally it led to the world community coming up with the concept of sustainable development goals. Because, you can deal with, it's a huge, it's like the six blind men and the elephant, right? And the blind men were trying to define the elephant based on what part of the elephant they were touching, right? Without realizing the elephant is much bigger, in fact. And that you only realize when all six come together and explain their experiences. Then they, oh my God, this is a very different thing. Yes, same as the ocean, in fact. It is huge. As a result, it is difficult to understand, and the complexities in the ocean are much greater than land. You see, in land, you have hard boundaries. Yes. So if something happens in a square mile, you know that it is not easily going to spread to the other parts, except aerial pollution, and that also we understand much better. Yes. And if there are certain things which are spreading beyond those boundaries, you have the capacity of raising physical barriers to that, limiting the damage to a particular geographical position. But oceans have no boundaries in that. So sometimes something happens thousands of miles away, but the impact is felt very differently at a very different pace. In fact, I always give this example of El Nino. El Nino happens something about 14,000 kilometers away, but it brings about either floods or drought in India or in other parts of Asia. No, these are the implications of ocean's behavior. And most of those activities are taking place underwater. Yes. And these activities, to understand these activities, the amount of knowledge and effort that's required, it is simply mind-boggling. And that is why I have been saying that, 20 years ago, we were not talking about underwater domain awareness, because we thought the kind of data we are dealing with is so immense, it will be humanly impossible to grasp the magnitude of that data and its implication for the planetary functions. Thank God today we have the, cover, which not only assimilate mega data, but can also analyze that mega data into some reasonable conclusions. Yes. Given the magnitude of the oceans, Arnav, we have been saying that, being physically at every part of the ocean to understand what it does is going to be impossible. Therefore, we have been talking about, for example, modeling and simulation. That can we create models and then work out simulation processes? And remember, long back in our discussion, we mentioned, can we develop markers of what's happening underneath? Yes. As an example, today, for example, when one of the presenters were talking about PFZ, right, he said chlorophyll as a marker. Now, I'm very happy that he has tried to identify a marker which then can tell you the story of downstream and upstream activities. What's happening upstream, what's happening downstream, right? The fish biomass, then it can also get linked to the biodiversity angle. It can also get linked to the whole food chain, right? So then what are the factors which are contributing to the chlorophyll concentration, for example, which means the input factors and the output factors. Can you imagine what kind of understanding this single marker can give to us? Yes. And that is where your people are now heading. They are working on what is called foundational building blocks of marine spatial planning. Yes. I will not go into details of marine spatial planning. I hope most of your people understand this. Because without marine spatial planning, oceans conservation is going to be impossible. And without these foundational building blocks, MSP will not be possible. So people must understand what MRC is doing. MRC is creating an enabling environment which then can help us design the MSP frameworks and manage the oceans harnessing within the sustainability limits. Yes. And when it comes to economic, benefits, I see very tangible economic benefits, because today everybody is talking about sustainability. They know that you have to be prepared before it's too late. And if it is too late, then what will you do? It's better to be prepared. Now, the other day we mentioned, first time in the India-US discussion, UDA came up. Yes. That shows the importance of underwater domain awareness. Yes. And we know that given the tech intensity of underwater domain awareness, the global south is at a disadvantage. Yes. And the kind of work which is being done by MRC could be immensely important for global south. Because you are working in environment which is very similar to the environment in which they are working. Right? And you have certain capabilities which, in fact, adapt the technology to their environment. Right? The temperate conditions are very different. The technology there may be very successful, but the same technology will not be applicable in tropical waters. And that is the bridge you are providing. You are providing the bridge for that technology to become relevant to the global south. So this is an opportunity. And right now, for example, right now we are talking about some kind of limited domain. Yes, because we are gathering those puzzles, pieces of those puzzles. When brought together, they will then create a larger picture which everybody will understand. But right now we have these puzzle pieces in hand, right? In isolation, people will have difficulty understanding them. But once we start putting them together and then showing them the elephant, which was not understandable, comprehensible by those 6 blind men, then suddenly they will see the economic importance of the elephant. Yes. So it can come in terms of technology transfer, where MRC can act as a bridge between the North and the global South. Once you develop those markers, those technologies, the industry will automatically get interested. Then they would want to know what are the applications here, yes, where they can also make money. Beyond this, there will be kind of demands by the regulator, because sometimes some stakeholders may not be interested in that, but the regulator is interested, because the regulator is looking at a larger picture, right? So the regulator needs this data. Otherwise, how would the regulator regulate this? So there will be a lot of input for the regulator, in fact. There will be a lot of input for the policy, in fact. There will be a lot of input for the regional and multilateral organizations, because they are worried with the larger picture, right? Sometimes the stakeholders look at their narrow band, but the society cannot afford to look at these things with a narrow band. So I think I would want to congratulate these young experts. They have done a wonderful job. But please remember, while your contribution to the larger picture is absolutely pivotal, but remember, your understanding the larger picture for your own specialization is also important. You may specialize in, for example, sediment thing, or in biofouling or whatever. But you will appreciate how your specific domain then fits into the larger picture, which is much bigger than the individual, specialized domain. So, I think this is still a young field, and with so many complications in its behavior, its dynamics, I think we need to be patient. But the way things are happening in terms of the impact of human activity on the environment, very soon you will see there will be a lot of attention to these things. Yes. So I am very happy that at least these young minds are interested in these things, and once they produce something tangible in what they are doing, I'm sure the industry will also get interested, and the region will get interested in these things. So I think we need to concentrate on our capacity building, our skill building, our larger understanding of the process, and then of course convert that into solutions. Those solutions may be small solutions, those solutions may be big solutions, right? So I'm really fascinated by this. In fact, the other day we were discussing these olive ridley turtles. They come to Odisha, your state. Now, do we understand why they come there? Yes. But they produce millions of dollars in terms of tourism. Yes. Now we have no idea why they come there. Is it possible that one day they may not come there? And we may lose that major resource in terms of tourism? We must understand what's happening in the water, which is bringing them there, and what could happen in the water which may prevent their arrival again. That is what underwater domain awareness is all about. This is what MRC is all about. I think we need to run that simulation to understand why these tiny turtles, they come back to the same place. Yes. Yeah. So I think, this is an amazing field. And therefore, I am not surprised that the larger society will take time to understand it. Yes. So with these words, I congratulate you and I congratulate these youngsters for their interest and what they have done, in fact. Yes. What they have done. Their immediate application will be in the aquaculture and fisheries. I told you, in fact, how we can use these tools to advise the fishermen where to go on a particular day so that they don't come back empty-handed. They don't overfish, right? They don't underfish, and they prosper. So these are very, very essential aspects. Yeah. So let's have patience. Let's wait for wonderful consequences of what we are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate your comments, and it's always very encouraging for us to present to you and get your feedback. So we'll continue this discussion, and even our next presentation will be on 12th. So I'll also seek your participation there, sir.
On 12th, you just keep me informed. I will be out of India, but I will try to still join you.
You told me, yes.
Time you fix.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Certainly. So we'll hand over to Prafulji for his comments.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, sir.
Your voice is
listening to the excellent range of full spectrum presentations right from underwater sediment.
Prafulji, your voice is not very audible.
Just check your microphone, please.
Hello, can you hear me now? But, hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. There's a little distortion, but go ahead, please.
Thank you so much. It's always nice to listen to you and the way you scope it out and the holistic picture you played and the stability. See, I always believe that strategy is always born. So it's so important to have a big picture of all the students, I'm sure. And thank you very much, all the students, for a full, fantastic range of presentations, right from underwater sedimentation to cables to fisheries to the whole range of presentations. It was really very interesting to me. I'd just like to share for the benefit of all that do you know we got 500 applications from the 4 IITs, the top 4 IITs, Bombay, Delhi, Kharagpur and Madras. Last year we got 800 applications, and this year the applications have gone beyond 2,000. Has been very neglected more about space than what about attracting the best and the finest students in this country, which is very, very heartening. I'd like to thank ma'am Anju Gupta for her intervention and motion, of course. But thank you, all of you, all my young friends. I feel so much younger listening to you and the energy you bring to this for furthering and progressing the mission of MRC. Thank you, Commander, for all your support and leadership which you provide. Thank you, Nishtha, and the whole team at MRC. Thank you so much. It's late in the quite late now. Thank you, everyone. Look forward to meeting you in person soon sometime. Bye. Namaste.
Thank you, Prafulji, and thank you, Ambassador Mudgal, sir. We will continue to take this forward. I certainly agree with all of you. The level of projects have definitely gone up, and I must credit the mentors. Now this year we started this mentorship mechanism where a couple of interns are attached with the research fellows, and I think Shlok, Romit, Catherine, Sridhar, the mentors have done a remarkable job in terms of guiding, and I mean the involvement has been phenomenal. So, and of course, I mean the effort from each and every intern is very, very visible. I request all of you to continue with the same effort and enthusiasm, and MRC team is always there to support. So thank you. I think we'll end this. Nishtha, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, everyone, for
And
joining.
Shreya and Ayush at the back end to run this whole thing. Thank you so much. Mudgal sir, thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mudgal sir, you are muted, sir. Mudgal sir, you are muted, sir. Kindly unmute yourself. Mudgal sir, kindly unmute yourself. You are muted, sir.
Yes. Is it okay now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, no, I said very exciting today. In fact, suddenly my connection got disconnected, so I rejoined on my phone.
Sir.
No, good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.